We continue now at the top of Daf Mem Tesam Aleph from Mesechet Kesuvos. This is Kesuvos Daf 49a. The Gemara asks a question: Ve'ema heicha dehadra levei nasha. Why don't we say that? Let's say she returns to her father's house, so hadra lemilsa kamaisa, so she should return to her original status. Rashi over here says, Hachi garsinan ve'ema heicha dehadra levei nasha tahadra lemilsa kamaisa mi have kemi shelo nimsra. In other words, the case is, let's say she's given over to the shluchei habal, to the messengers of the husband, but then she ends up returning to her father's house. Let's say her husband dies, so it should be as if she was never given over. That's the question of the Gemara. And Rashi explains, Baya bi'almahi. This is just a general question. Ve'ina kusha kol kach. It's not really such a difficult question. Ela dekotani masnisin. It's just a question that's going on the language of the Mishnah. Because the Mishnah says, Harehi b'rishus habal. It says that when she's given over again to the shluchei habal, she's in the rishus of the Baal. Umashman, the implication is, Va'afilu chazra min haderech levei savia. Even if she were to return from the road and go back to her father's house, it sounds like in the Mishnah, Kvar yotza mirishus ha'av, that she's already fully left the rishus of the father. Now, since we only learn this whole idea that when she's given over to the shliach, she leaves the rishus of the father and goes over to the rishus of the Baal, that's just from an extra pasuk where it says beis avia. So ema hecha dehadra beis avia karinan beis. So we should say that when she returns, it is considered like she's in beis avia. And if she commits znus in that situation, she should get skila. So essentially, the Gemara is saying, why don't we say that that is the case? And to that the Gemara says, Omar Rava says, Ahu kvar paska tana devei Rabbi Yishmael. That already, it's already paskened by the Tana devei Rabbi Yishmael. Rashi says, Kvar paska tana devei Rabbi Yishmael, de lo hadra lemilsa kamaisa. It's already stated by the Tana devei Rabbi Yishmael that she does not go back to her original status as if she's in her father's rishus, lemahave kimisha lo nimsra, as if she was never given over. We do not say that. The Tana devei Rabbi Yishmael, because it was taught in the yeshiva of Rabbi Yishmael, v'neder almona ugrusha kol asher asra al nafsha yakum aleh. We talk about the fact that, again, the father, the husband, they have the right to annul the vows of this woman, but let's say she becomes a widow or she's divorced, so she's no longer in the rishus of her husband. That's what it says, v'neder almona ugrusha, in such a situation, by that neder, so the neder stands and there's no one that can annul that vow. And so the Gemara says, Ma Talmud Lomar, what is the meaning of this pasuk over here? Rashi over here explains, Ma Talmud Lomar, Lama Hutzrich Lichtov Yokum Aleh. What do you even need this pasuk for to tell us that the oaths of this woman stand? V'chi mi yofer, who's going to annul them? It's not even possible. She's out of everyone's rishus. V'halo lo nemru mefirim elo avia bevito. Who are the ones that are able to annul? It's either going to be the father by his daughter, ad shalonissus, before she's married, ubala mishanissus, or it could be her husband from after she's married. This woman over here, who she was widowed after marriage, so of course she's no longer in the rishus of the father, and she's no longer in the rishus of the husband. So what is the purpose of this pasuk over here? Like Rashi said, she's excluded from the rishus of the father at this point. She's excluded from the rishus of the Baal. So what's the pasuk teaching us? And so the Tana devei Rabbi Yishmael says, Ella, rather, the pasuk is teaching us Hareisha Masara Av l'Shluchei Habal. It's our exact question. Let's say the father gave her over to the Shluchei Habal. O Shemasar Shluchei Av l'Shluchei Habal. Let's say the Shluchei Ha'av gave her over to the Shluchei Habal. Minisar Mula Baderech on Iskarsh, and then again she becomes widowed while she's on the road, on the way, or she becomes divorced. Heichani Korei Ba Beis Avia Shalzu or Beis Bala Shalzu. Can I call about her that she's in her father's house or in the husband's house? Ela Lomar Loch. Rather, this is exactly what it means to say, once she leaves for one moment from the rishus of her father, he's no longer able to annul the vow. Rashi over here says, what the Gemara means is that the pasuk is not coming to tell us a standard case of a widow or a divorcee from marriage. It says, if her husband's around, he can annul it. In these cases, the husband's not around. Rather, the pasuk must be talking about our case. She became widowed when she was given over to the shluchei habal. Because until now, the pasuk hasn't explained that. All we really know about is when she makes a neder in the house of her father, or she makes a neder in the house of her husband. Vezusha Nadra Baderech, but here in this case where she makes a neder on the road, Misha Masruah, the Shluchim, when she's given over to the Shluchei Abal, Einani Yodea Hechani Kore, but we don't know what to call her. In Beis Avi, in Beis Isha, whose house is that? Is it her father's house? Is it her husband's house? Lafikach B'Kos of Zeveli Mencha, that's what the Pasuk is teaching us. Shalo Tikra La Beis Avi, Ela Beis Isha. It's considered to be that at this point in time, she's in the house of her husband, not the house of her father. V'lo Nisrog Rishos La'ab Misasa Shel Baal, and if the husband were to die, she doesn't go back to the Rishos of her father. The father no longer has the ability to annul the vows. You see again from here that she does not go back to her original status. And now, let's say she would have been a widow from the Erison stage, before she was given over to the Shluchei Abal. That's a Mishnah Nedarim. It says that if the husband dies, she does go back to her father's Rishos. That we learn out from Sukkim. So again, you see the answer over here to our question. In this case, once she's given over to the Shluchei Abal, she does not go back to the Rishus of the father, even if the husband dies. Again, and the Gemara continues, Amar Papa says, Afanon Nami Tanina. We have a Mishnah that supports what we just said before. Rashi says, Afanon Nami Tanina b'masnisin. We have a Mishnah that says, Ki ahi braisa de Tanya el, similar to the braisa from before, harezu bechenek. That in this case, again, she is bechenek. It's not considered to be a situation of a nara hameorasa where the punishment is skila. We'll see in a moment exactly. The Mishnah says, Habal nara hameorasa. It says if he has relations with a nara hameorasa, so she's already been betrothed, Eino chayev achetei nara besula meorasa. She has to be a nara, she has to be a besula, and she has to be meorasa. If one of those three conditions are not met, then she's not going to get. It's not going to be a punishment of skila. Rather, it's going to be chenek. V'hi beveis avia, and she has to be in the house of her father. So bishlama nara v'lo bogeres. Now let's understand what this means. I understand nara means she's a nara, not a bogeres. Besula v'lo beula, she's a besula, not a beula, like we said before. Meorasa v'lo nesua, and again she's betrothed and not married. But what's that last line of Vihi Beveis Avia? Beveis Avia L'Me'utei Mai. What does it mean she's in the house of her father? What does that come to exclude? Lav L'Me'utei Masarav L'Shluchei Abal. It's exactly the case of the Brisa before. When the father gives her over to the Shluchei Abal at that point in time already, so then she's not going to be in a situation of skila anymore. It's going to be a situation of chenek. That's the Brisa before. Harezu Bechenek. And the Gemara continues, Amar Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak says, Afanon Nami Tanina. We learned this in a Mishnah as well. In the following, it says, Habal Eishas Ish. If a person has relations with a married woman, Kevan Shenichnas Ol Rishus Habal in Nisuin. Once she enters the Rishus of the Baal for Nisuin, Aval Pishalo Nivela, even though there was no relations, Habo Aleh Harezeh Bechenek. It says if he has relations with her, then again the punishment is going to be chenek. And what does it mean? Nichnasol rishus habal bialma. It just means she entered the rishus, like going to the shluchei habal is enough. Shma mino. You see from the Mishnah exactly like this. Rashi over here says nichnasol rishus habal bialma tanan. That's all it says in the Mishnah, just entering the rishus. V'lo tanan bo nichnasol lechup. It doesn't say that she has to actually enter into the wedding canopy. And the Gemara continues with the Mishnah, Ha'av eino chayiv b'mezonos bito. A father is not obligated to support his daughter, to give mezonos to his daughter. Ze medrash doresh Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. This was a medrash that was darshan by Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah. L'fnei chachamim v'kerem b'yavna. In front of the chachamim in kerem b'yavna. Habonim yirshu v'habonos yizonu. The sons, they get to inherit, and the daughters are supported. And we understand as follows. Ma habonim einon yorshin elal achar misas o'av. Just like when it comes to the sons, they're only inheriting after the death of the father. Afabono, so too when it comes to the daughters, ein nizonos elali achar misas avi, and they're only getting that support after the death of their father. That's the idea. Ha'av eino chayiv b'mezonos bito. Rashi over here says, Ha'av eino chayiv b'mezonos bito b'chayiv. Rashi makes it clear we're talking about while the father is alive, because again, after the father dies, then there is support for the daughter. Uvegamar mefarish amay nakat bito. The Gemara will explain why we're talking about bito specifically. And Rashi continues that Medrash Darish Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah b'yom sheminu nasi. On the day he was made the nasi, this is what he darshaned. B'kerem b'yavna, and kerem b'yavna. Why is it called kerem b'yavna? Al shem shayu yoshvin shuros kekerem. When they used to sit and listen to the lecture, so they would sit in rows like a vineyard. That's why it was called kerem b'yavna. Habonim yirshu v'habonos yizonu. So the sons inherit, and the daughters are sustained. Shtei takonos tiknu bezin b'tanai ksuba. It's actually two separate takonos that the bezin says have to be included within the ksuba. Habonim yirshu ksubas benin dichrin. The first one is that the sons, they inherit what's called the ksuba of the benin dichrin, the male children. To Tanan b'mas nisan, it says in the Mishnah, benin dichrin the havilechi mina. He writes in the ksuba, the males, the sons that you have from me, inun yorsun kesef ksubasech. They're going to inherit the money of your ksuba. Yeser al chulakon dimachon, more than any other portions they might have with their other brothers. V'hainu habonim yirshu ksubas benin dichrin. That's the idea that the sons inherit this ksubas benin dichrin. Well, kaman b'shmaitin mefarshinan lamaihi. It's going to be explained later on exactly what this is. V'habonos yizon, when the daughters are supported. More is that. That's also in the ksuba. Benon nukvon do you have yon lechi minoi. The daughters that we have together. Inon you have yon yosrin bevesi. They'll be able to sit in my house. Umitzon minachasai, and they'll be supported from my property. Ad to devagron, until they become bogeris, until they're adults. Or ad to tilkachon legovernor, until they are married. And he darshan this follows, Mahabonim and Yorshan Ksubas Iman Elalachar Misas Avi, and just like the sons, they only inherit this ksuba of their mother after the death of their father. Ta'inon Yorsan Tanan, it says they're inheriting, that's obviously after Misa. V'hachim Mefarish Lo B'Yesh Nochlin, and that's what it says in Yesh Nochlin, Ta'ai Habonim Yershua Ksubas B'nin Dichrin Kai, that this is all going on again, what we noted before, the Ksubas B'nin Dichrin. And the Gemara says, B'mezonos Bito Hu Deino Chayiv, we can infer from our Mishnah that it's in sustaining his daughter that he's not obligated. But in terms of sustaining and giving mizonos to his son, it sounds like from the Mishnah he would be chayiv. And furthermore, we can infer bito nami chova hu deleka. When it comes to his daughter, it's not an obligation. Ha mitzvah, but it sounds like there is a mitzvah to support his daughter. And so the Gemara now says mani masnisin. So who's the author of our Mishnah? If this is all accurate, who would be the author of our Mishnah? It doesn't seem to fit with anybody. Lo Rabbi Meir, lo Rabbi Yehuda, lo Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. It doesn't seem to fit with Rabbi Meir, not with Rabbi Yehuda, and not with Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka in the following brisa. The Tanya, as we learned in a brisa, mitzvah lozon es habanos, it says that it's a mitzvah to support the daughters. Kal v'chomer lebanim, it's a kal v'chomer that it's a mitzvah to support the sons. The aski b'torah, because they learn Torah. Divrei Rabbi Meir, that's Rabbi Meir's opinion. He seems to say it's a mitzvah to support both. Rabbi Yehuda says mitzvah lozon es habanim. It's a mitzvah to support the sons. The kal v'chomer lebanos, and it's a kal v'chomer that it's a mitzvah to support the daughters. Mishum zilusa, because it would be considered like a zilusa. It would be considered disgraceful not to. So he also seems to say it's a mitzvah to support both. Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka says chova lozon es habanos la'achar misas avian. It's an obligation to support the daughters after the death of their father. Aval b'chaye avian, but when it comes during the lifetime of their father, elu ve'elu einon nizonin. Both of them, they are not going to be supported. And so the Gemara now says, Mani Mas Nisan. So based on this, who is the author of our Mishnah? Rabbi Meir, if you're going to say that the author is Rabbi Meir, Ha'amar Bonim Mitzvah, but Rabbi Meir is the one that says that it is a mitzvah to support the Bonim, it's a mitzvah to support the sons. And Rabbi Yehuda, if you're going to say it's Rabbi Yehuda, Ha'amar Bonim Nami Mitzvah, he says it's also a mitzvah to support the sons. And Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, and if you're going to say it's Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, Afilu Mitzvah Nami Leka, it seems like it's not even a mitzvah at all. We'll take a look at Rashi over here. Chova lozon habanos, it's an obligation to support the daughters. Tanai ksuba, meaning it's an obligation, part of the Tanai ksuba. Ein nizon and afilu mitzvah ein kan. Again, that was the opinion there of Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka said it was a chova to support them after the misa, but b'chaye avian, when the father's alive, it's ein nizon and there's not even a mitzvah. And so the Gemara now said again, it can't be anybody. If you're going to say it's Rabbi Meir, he said the sons is a mitzvah. If you're going to say it's Rabbi Yehuda, he said ha'amar bonim nami mitzvah. He said that the sons are also a mitzvah, v'lo chova, not an obligation. And Rashi continues, if you're going to say it's Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, afilu mitzvah leka, he says it's not even a mitzvah, lo bebonim v'lo bebonos, not by the sons and not by the daughters. And so the Gemara answers, Ibo Yesema Rabbi Meir, Ibo Yesema Rabbi Yehuda, Ibo Yesema Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. If you want, I could say that our Mishnah follows Rabbi Meir. If you want, I could say our Mishnah follows Rabbi Yehuda. And if you want, I could say the Mishnah even follows Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka as follows. Ibo Yesema Rabbi Meir. You could say that our Mishnah is Rabbi Meir, v'hachi kamar, and here's what it means to say. Ha'av eino chai b'mizonos bito. It says, again, the father is not obligated to support his daughter. V'hu hadin livno, and the same is true by the son. He's not obligated to support the son. Ha mitzvah bebito ika, but there would be a mitzvah to support the daughter, and kal v'chomer lebanim, and there would be a kal v'chomer to support the sons. In other words, there'd be a mitzvah by both. V'haide katani bito, and the reason why the Mishnah specifies the daughter, even though the halacha is the same by the son, hakamash malon, it is coming to teach us, and we'll take a look at Rashi over here. Ibo yisayim Rabbi Meir v'hachi kamar kolomar bito denakat lav lemedak habeno chayiv. We'll understand our Mishnah that when it says daughter, it doesn't mean to infer that by the son there's an obligation. Elamishum de Rabbi Meir odif le beno. Rather, it's because according to Rabbi Meir, the son there's more chance that you'd have to support than the daughter. Inakat eno chayiv b'mezonos beno. So therefore, if it would have said he's not obligated to support his son, hava amina beno hu dechova leka mitzvah. I would have said as follows: by the son there's no obligation, but it's a mitzvah. But by the daughter, I might have thought there's not even a mitzvah. That's why it says he's not chayiv to support the daughter, because then you'll be able to make the inference properly that there's a mitzvah by the daughter, and that the same is true by the son. You make a kal v'chomer to chova miyoleka, and again, there would be no chova by the son, but there would be a mitzvah. That's how Rabbi Meir, that's how you can understand our Mishnah to go according to Rabbi Meir. We'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Mem Tes Amud Beis.